continuation from lecture 18. Let us start with the something. Let's say I have the network, and to this I have given the supply voltage Vs of t. Say network is dynamic, and I am interested to find the voltage or particular voltage V0 of t. So V0 of t, we know that we can find out by the use of Heaviside operator H of p on the system voltage, source voltage Vs of t, right? So H of p is my Heaviside operator I can call, system operator I can call in general, or the characteristic equation, right? So whenever we would like to solve the dynamic circuit, always if I know the Heaviside operator, ultimately I will be able to know what wherever I am interested. Either I can find out the voltage across particular element or current through it, right? So if this is the case, I know, let's say we considered P is operator, which was the ddt, and P was integral 1 upon P represented as integral operator. Okay, so if I am writing voltage across inductor is VL di by dt, so that can be written as LPI, fine. Or if I would like to write I is equal to 1 over L integral V of tau d tau, so what it will be, I can write as 1 over LP V, right? So this LP is my H of P as Heaviside operator, system operator, or this is my admittance operator. Similarly, I can write for capacitor also, that is V is equal to 1 over C integral I tau d tau, and which I can write as 1 over Cp into I. So this will be my H of P, right? Okay, so based on it, let us think of, can we solve the dynamic network, right, like the resistor network we have been solved. So in order to see this, let me consider the network as I'll draw. So there is, here I'll draw. So I have a supply voltage Vs of t to this R in series with inductor, and there is a capacitor in parallel with R as an element. Okay, so like this, and let us think, can we solve this like which we have been solved with the help of resistor net using the resistors. Okay, so suppose this is my Vs of t, R, L, C and R. Now let me replace this with the operator LP, and this is 1 over Cp. Now I'll treat this LP and Cp operator as a resistor, and to solve the network for, let's say, V0 of t. So V0 of t, how can I get it? Only when, if I know the Heaviside operator H of P, which will be operating on my system voltage Vs of t. Okay. So my aim is to now find it out what will be my Heaviside operator H of P. So to do this, I know now resistor is in parallel with one Cp, and resistor in series with this LP. So I can replace R in parallel with 1 over Cp, and this resistor in series with LP. Okay, so if I'll say R in parallel with 1 over Cp, so that will be R over Cp and R plus 1 over Cp. So this can be R over Cp, this will cancel, so it will be 1 R over 1 plus R Cp. Okay, so now let me solve this. So in order to solve that, is can be written as, this is my Vs of t, so the equivalent I can draw this R plus LP, right? And what is the equivalent for this is R over 1 plus RCP, and where I am interested to know what is the voltage across this point. Okay, and this is my Vs of t. So to compute this, I will use the voltage divider circuit. So V0 of t will be equal to, this is R over 1 plus RCP, and this is R over 1 plus RCP plus LP plus R into Vs of t, right? So this voltage, this divided by the sum of the resistors. It looks like voltage divider circuit. Fine. So if I will solve V0 of t, this will be R over L P plus R plus LP into 1 plus RCP plus R. So this can be expanded as R plus R square CP plus LP plus R LCP square plus R. Now this R will become 2 times R, so it will be R over R LCP square plus R square C plus LP plus 2R into everywhere Vs of t. This also here also Vs of t. Okay, and now R is common everywhere, so what I'll do, I'll try to replace that R. So it will be 1 by LCP square plus RC plus L by R P plus 2 into Vs of t. So in this case, what is my H of P now? That is system operator is this H of P into Vs of t. So this is my H of P where I am interested, and I know, once I know the system operator or the characteristic equation I can use, and I can find out the roots, and once I know the roots I can obtain the solution. That is, from that, let's see, I have the two roots P1 and P2, so I can write for V0 of t is equal to K1 e raised to P1t plus K2 e raised to P2t plus forcing function a into e raised to bt. And now my aim is to obtain a, K1 and K2, and we know that how can we do it, right? So this way also you can solve the complicated circuits by treating L and C as a resistor with the replacement of the impedance or admittance operator, right? Now again, it is to be noted here that if I have this source voltage like this, and to this, suppose I am connecting inductor, so say this V1 of t and suppose L. Okay, so try to avoid this source transformation, because suppose here if I doing the source transformation, what will be, this will be my current source and in parallel with resistor, that way I can do. So what will be this? This will be 1 over L into P into your V. Fine, V in. This will be my current. So suppose I am applying here the voltage as a constant voltage, right? V in of t is suppose my constant voltage. So what will be I? I will be my linearly increasing function, right? And which will not be bounded, right? So that may be the problem. Right? So whenever you are doing the transformation, be careful. Okay, so now here we have obtained the H of P, and from that, so what I want to tell you is that so when you are doing the source transformation, you have to be very careful. Okay, so now if I look this, what is the order of the network which we have drawn right now? The order of the network is 2, because the power of the dt operator is 2. Okay, so the order of the circuit which we have taken into consideration is 2. Fine. Okay, because p square is coming in the denominator. So now my next aim, without finding out the system operator, again can I directly identify what is the order of the system? That is the thing which we will be discussing right now. Okay, which we will discuss right now. So previously what happened, we had a network, we solved it, then we obtained the system operator, and from that system operator, by looking the power of the p, we can decide, okay, the power is this much, the order is this, right? So can you find out the order by just looking the circuit? The answer is yes, you can do that. So for that, the order of system, basically let us discuss something related with the order of system. So order of the system or order of the circuit is related with the number of independent energy storage elements. Number of independent energy storage elements. Okay. So basically, if the order is 2, there will be 2 type of natural frequencies. So number of order of circuit will be equal to, you can say, the number of natural frequencies present. Number of natural frequencies present, and number of natural frequencies present, it is always, when it is equal to the number of independent energy storage elements. And number of independent energy storage elements can be defined as the number of independent initial conditions we can define it. So it means that how many initial conditions you can define in the system which are independent of each other. Okay, so this is nothing but the order of the system. So in this case, in the last network which we have taken, that this is the network. So in this, what we can say that we have the two energy storage elements, L and C, and they are independent. So if I'll take it, the initial conditions of L and C, so the current through the inductor and the voltage across capacitor are totally independent each other. Say I have the degree of freedom. So total number of independent initial conditions are again equal to the total number of degrees of freedom I have in the network, so that I can set it independently. Okay, which will be nothing but my order of the system. So in this, current through the inductor and voltage across capacitor, these two are independent with each other, right? So there is no relation, there is no dependency between it, so that there are the two independent energy storage elements. So that's why the order is 2. So to illustrate it, let us take it one more example and we'll see. So suppose I have voltage source like this, the resistor, then there is a capacitor like this, and one more resistor I have, and let me draw the capacitor, this capacitor here. Okay, and suppose I label it, this is R1, C1, R2, C2, and this is my Vn of T, for example. So what is the order of the system by looking at the network? Now there are, I know, two energy storage elements, C1 and C2. So do I have the two initial conditions that I can set it independently? Now let us see it whether really, now I have a confusion regarding the order of this, whether it is 2 or 1. Right? So suppose now this Vin of T I have, this source voltage, that is some value, right? So do I have two different initial conditions which I can set it? Suppose I'll set it here, let's say initial voltage is 3 volt, right? And obviously it is having some value, let's say 10 volt. So can I set it as 10 volt? This is not possible at all, right? So from that, what I can say, there is only one independent, there is only one degree of freedom I have which I can set as an initial condition. I cannot say this is 3 volt and this is lambda 1000 volt, because here I have V in. Otherwise, if I set it like this, there will be the contradiction in terms of the KVL, right? So KVL will not satisfy, right? So we can conclude here from here that the order of the system is 1, because I have only one initial condition which I can set independently. Let us prove it mathematically. Again, same, we can solve it. Treat C1 and C2 as an resistive element, so it will be 1 over C1p, and this is 1 over C2p. So I can observe that R1 is parallel with 1 over C1p and R2 is in parallel with 1 over C2p, and I am interested in this voltage V0 of t. Okay, so let us solve this. So what I can write is that R1 parallel with 1 over C1p, so it will be R1 parallel with 1 over C1p, I can write as R1 over 1 plus R1 C1p, and R2, if it is parallel with 1 over C2p, I can write as R2 over 1 plus R2 C2p, and now I can express in terms of the V0 of t will be equal to the system operator applied on input voltage Vn of t. Okay, and what I have to obtain, H of p. So for that, if I would like to obtain V0 of t, again we will use the same voltage divider circuit. So it will be R2 divided by your H of p can be written as 1 plus R2 C2p over R1 over 1 plus R1 C1p plus R2 over 1 plus R2 C2p. So if I solve this, it will be R2 and this will be one plus R1 C1p. Here I can write, this will cancel it. Okay, so it will be R1 1 plus R2 C2p plus R2 into 1 plus R1 C1p, and this will cancel, so here it will done. Okay, this is correct. So let me expand it. It will be R2 plus R1 R2 C1p. Okay, it is R1 plus R1 R2 C2p plus R2 plus R1 R2 C1p, and this also I can write as R2. So yeah, again unnecessary we folded. Okay, 1 plus R1 C1p, and this is PP. I will take it common, so it will be what next, R1 plus R2, and this will be R1 R2 and C1 plus C2 into P. This is the resultant. Okay, so here I can say this is my H of P into Vn of t. So I can see the order of the circuit or the network which we have taken right now is 1, because the power of P is 1. Okay, and also physically we have proved it. So in this way also you can find out the order of the circuit by looking it into the network, and this can be done by setting the number of independent initial conditions in the network. Again, we'll take it 1 or 2 examples to clear this. So again, say I have the network like this: capacitor, inductor, this is one more capacitor, and suppose there is a resistor R, and I am interested to compute V0 of t. this any name will give it, say supply voltage Vs of t. So this is C1, L and C2. So what is the order of the circuit? So this is my one initial condition I have, this is second initial condition, and this is also third initial condition, right? So I can set this voltage independently. Also I can set this current also independently, so there will not be any contradiction. So I can say that the order of the circuit is 3, because I can set 3 initial conditions independently. And if I would like to solve it, you can solve that, or mathematically also you can do it. It will be R in parallel with 1 over C2P, and then it will be plus LP, and again this will be parallel with 1 over C1P. Okay, so if you solve, I'll give you the resultant. V0 of t, it will be R plus LP plus RL C2P square, and this will be R C1P plus LC1P square plus R L C1 C2 PQ, right? And operating on Vs of t. So this is my H of P, and I can see the power of P is 3, that's why the order is 3. One more way, again let us say I have this network, one capacitor, yes, second capacitor, and here again I attach one more capacitor like this, and say the same network, only instead of L I have replaced by capacitor, and say this is my Vs of t. Okay, so what is the order of the network if I would like to calculate this voltage, say V0 of t? So here look carefully, Vs of t, it is having some number, fixed number, right? I have the choice that, can I have the 3 choices that I can set independently? If I set, let's say 3 volt here, 100 volt here, and 2000 volt here, will it be okay? Will your KVL will satisfy? No, this is not possible, right? So what are the degrees of freedom I have, which I can set independently? Out of these 3 voltages, I can set any 2 independently. Okay, so it means the order of my network is 2. And if you solve it similarly, you will get it, the power of P is 2. You can try. R in parallel with 1 over C3P, this is in series with 1 over C2P, and this again in parallel with 1 over C1P. That way you can do it, and you can check your answer. So this way we can decide the order of the circuit by looking it into. Right? Now next we will see, we'll take it one example in order to find out the solution, which will be based on a set of simultaneous network equations. Okay, so suppose my circuit is like this. One more voltage source connected here. There is an inductor, resistor, and capacitor in series with voltage source, which is 0 negative, and then one more resistor connected with it. So suppose this is my V1, say point A, B, this is V2, L, R1, C, and here R2. And now question is, say this is my I1 and this is my I2. So find out the solution for this. Okay. So here the question is, when switch was at position A, assume that all the inductor and capacitor has been charged and it reached to steady state. Now after that the switch will move from position A to position B, and let us find out for I1 of t, what is my I1 of t and what is the I2 of t. Okay, and let us put it some numerical values also here. So V1 is suppose 2 volt, V2 is 3 volt, L is say 1 Henry, R1 I'll assume 0.5 ohm, C is 1/3 farad, and R2 is suppose 2 ohm. Okay, so now I have to solve it. So in order to solve, I can use the mesh analysis here. So previously the switch was at position A, so L and C has been charged, means it has been reached to steady state. Okay, so now when switch moves to position B, let us write the equation. So for mesh 1, what will be that V2 will be equal to L di1 by dt plus R1 I1t minus R1 I2 of t. Okay, this equation 1, and for equation let us start here from here. Okay, so it will be I'll directly write minus Vc0 negative will be equal to 1 over C integral 0 negative to t I2 tau d tau plus R2 I2 of t plus what will be, this is R1. Okay, so R1 I2t minus I1. Okay. And I seen that there is an integral term here, so I'll try to remove it out. So it will be 1 over C, no, this integral should not be there. So it will be I1 over C I2t plus R2 di2 by dt plus R1 di2 by dt minus R1 di1 by dt, which is equal to 0. Okay, now let us rewrite it properly. So first will be what, V2 will be equal to, let us write by system operator P, not system operator but as what operator we have considered P, which will be ddt. So LP I1 for the simplicity plus R1 I1 minus R1 I2, this is equation 1, and for second it is 0, which will be equal to minus R1 P I1, okay, plus R1 plus R2 R1 plus R2 P I2 plus 1 over C I2. Okay, and from that what will be my H of P? The system operator will be the determinant of it. So LP or characteristic equation, in order to find out the determinant of it, because there are two equations. So LP plus R1, okay, which is I1 minus R1, this will be minus R1P, it will be R1 plus R2 P plus 1 over C. Okay, and if I'll find out the determinant, it will be LP plus R1, this will be R1 plus R2 into P plus 1 over C minus R1 square P. Okay, and if you expand it, it will be L R1 plus R2 P square plus R1 R2 plus L over C into P plus R1 upon C. Fine, and this has to be, obviously this has to be equal to 0 to get it the roots, and if I'll put it the values of L, which was 1 Henry, L was 1 Henry, R1 was 0.5 ohm, R2 was 2 ohm, and C was 1/3 farad. So if I'll put it this, I'll get it 2.5 P square plus 4P plus 5, which is 0, and if I'll find out the roots, get it 2 roots, one will be -1, second will be minus 0.6. Now I know the roots, so I can directly write the solution that can, because it consists of the excitation also, so it consists of excitation and forcing function also, so there will be complementary as well as particular solution. So I1 of t will be k1 e raised to minus 0.6 t plus k2 e raised to minus t plus forcing function can be expressed a1 e raised to bt, and for I2 of t it will be k3 e raised to minus 0.6 t plus k4 e raised to minus t. And next my aim is to compute a1, k1, k2, k3 and k4. So now it is a non-homogeneous equation. So first here also particular integral will be there. So a2 into a raised to whatever it is, b1 and say b2. Okay. So first I would like to find out the particular solution. So for that I need what is my a1 and what is my a2. The same process we will apply like last time, what we have calculated using the differential approach. So for particular solution we know h of p. Let me write h of p again. What was my h of p? Lp plus r1 minus r1. This was minus r1p, and it was r1 plus r2 p plus 1 over c. This was my h of p. Now to compute a1, let me express my forcing function. So what was it? v2. So let me express v2 e raised to 0t. So your alpha 1 is v2 and your beta 1 is 0. And in second equation, that here, so what is v2? That I can v2 e raised to 0t, and here it is 0. Okay. So alpha 1 is v2. So in order to compute a1, the same way we can compute alpha 1 over the determinant or the system equation or characteristic equation, which is to be evaluated at beta and multiplied with cofactor, and that also to be evaluated at beta. Okay. So alpha 1, first calculate what is my delta b. So the value of b is 0 for this particular case. So delta b will be r1 minus 0, this is minus r1 because beta is 0. Okay, so r1 and this is also 0, so it will be 1 over c. So it is simple, r1 over c as a delta, that is determinant of. In order to calculate the cofactor of delta 1 1, what it will be, cofactor of this will be r1 plus r2 beta plus 1 over c, and what is beta? Beta is 0, so this is 1 by c. So the value of a1 will be v2 upon r1 into c into 1 over c, which comes out to be v2 by r1. Okay, and v2 we know it is, v2 is 3 and r1 is 0.5 ohm, so which comes out to be 6. Okay, so your particular solution for first case is 6 amperes. Or what you can do, instead of writing this, you can use the Cramer's rule to calculate that also. Okay, to calculate I1 or I2. So now my total solution will, and to compute I2 IP2, what it will be, as there is no forcing function, so a particular solution for this is 0 for I2 or for second mesh. Okay, so my total solution I can write as I1 of t will be equal to k1 e raised to minus 0.60 plus k2 e raised to minus t plus 6, and I2 of t will be k3 e raised to minus 0.60 plus k4 e raised to minus t. Now what next? Now I have to find out what is my k1, k2, k3 and k4. So there are 4 unknowns to be determined. So for that I have to use the initial conditions. Okay, so to compute the initial conditions, what was my circuit when it has been reached to steady state? It was like this. So once it reached, because L will be short circuited and capacitor will be open circuited, and here resistor will be looks like it was V1, L was short circuited and C was open circuited here, right? And this was my I1 and this was my I2. So what will be I1 0 negative? It is this value is R1 and this is R2. So I1 0 negative will be V1 by R1 and I2 0 negative will be 0 because of open circuit. So same as it satisfies the continuity, so I1 0 negative will be V1 upon R1, which is I1 0 positive, and I2 0 negative will be 0, which is I2 0 positive. Okay, so now let us calculate it for the other parts. So now next what I need to compute the first order I1 dash of 0 negative as well, I2 dash of 0 positive, not okay. So to compute this, again I will use my equations which we have written. Mesh equations V2 was L I1 dash of 0 positive plus R1 I1 of 0 positive minus R2 I2 of 0 positive. Okay, and I2 of 0 positive will be 0. So V2 will be 3, L is 1, so I1 dash of 0 positive plus R1 is 0.5 into I1 0 positive. Recently we have calculated what is V1 upon R1. V1 is 2, R1 is 0.5, so it is 0.5 and I1 is 4, so it is 2. So ultimately I1 dash of 0 positive is 1. Okay, this is done. Now to calculate I2 dash, I'll use the second equation, that is 0 equal to minus R1 I1 dash of 0 positive plus 1 over C I2 0 positive plus R1 plus R2 I2 dash of 0 positive. This is I2 dash of 0 positive which is to be calculated. I'm sorry, this will not be term out. This will not be, this term will not vanish, so it will be R1 plus R2, what it is, I2 dash of 0 positive. So if you solve, your I2 of 0, I2 dash of 0 positive should be 0.2 ampere per second. Okay, and this is 1 ampere per second. So now I know I1 0 positive, I2 0 positive as well as its primes also. So now I'll use my total solution equation. So k1 e raised to minus 0.60, I'll go little fast, minus t plus 6, and this is I2, it is k3 e raised to minus 0.60 plus k4 e raised to minus t, and its derivative also I need. So because minus 0.6, k1 e raised to minus 0.62 minus k2 e raised to minus t plus 0, I2 dash of t will be minus 0.6 k1 e raised to minus 0.6 t, and it will be minus k4 e raised to minus t, this is minus k3. So now I'll evaluate at I1 0 positive, which is k1 plus k2 plus 6, and I1 0 positive was 4. So one equation I'll get it, k1 plus k2 is equal to -2. Okay, yeah, one equation I'll get it -2. Then next I2 of 0 positive, so I2 of 0 positive, which is equal to k3 plus k4, and I2 of 0 positive is 0, so second equation is 0. Okay, this is equation 2, this is equation 1. Let us evaluate for I1 dash of 0, which is minus 0.6 k1 and minus k2. I1 dash of positive, something I have calculated, which was I1 dash of positive is minus 0.6 k1, which is 1, right? Okay, this is equation 3. And similarly I2 dash of positive is minus 0.6 k3 minus k4, and which is 0.2. This is 4. So with this, first I'll obtain from equation 1 and 2. So k1 plus k2 was -2, k3 plus k4 is 0, and here minus 0.6. So I will not use this word. It's k1 plus k2 minus 2, and minus 0.6 k1 minus k2, which is 1. So if I'll do, your value of k1 will be, that simply you can, k1 is basically minus 0.5, minus 2.5. Okay, so if you solve, let me directly write here, k1 will be minus 2.5, k2 will be 0.5, k3 will be 0.5, and k4 will be minus 0.5. So with this you will get total solution as k1 I1t is equal to minus 2.5 e raised to minus 0.6t plus 0.5 e raised to minus t plus 6, and I2 of t will be 0.5 e raised to minus 0.6t minus 0.5 e raised to minus t. And if I would like to plot it, so for I1 of t, what it will be the sum of two exponentials that are damped plus 6, right? So what is the resultant? I1 of t at t is equal to 0, it is minus 2.5 plus 0.5, so minus 2 plus 6, it is 4. So at t is equal to 0, I1 of t, so at t is equal to 0, somewhere it is 4, there is a value 6. Okay, and at t tends to infinity, what it will be, minus 2, it is this term 0, this term 0, and it will be 6. Okay, so it will go like this, it will reach to 6. This for I1 of t, and for I2 of t, and this is I2 of t. So initially t tends to 0, it is 0. Okay, and then as it is increasing, it increases exponentially. Again t tends to infinity, what happened, a raised to minus infinity, and then e raised to minus infinity, so again it will be 0. Okay, so it will be going like this, as already we have seen during the solution of second order circuit. Okay, so this way you can solve the dynamic circuit if it consists of more than one meshes. Okay, so if there will be more than one meshes, then you may get it 2 or 3 simultaneous equations, right? And how to solve it, you take it that let us explain that way. So you write the equations for each mesh. Once you have written the equations, you replace it by operators, obtain the system characteristic equation, and with the system characteristic equation you will get it the roots, and for that you write for all the values, all the variables which you would like to compute, I1, I2, I3, that way. Okay, so here 2 order is 2, that's why I have written the 2 equations. You may get it 3 also, because the number of meshes may be 3, so you may get it 3 simultaneous equations. And now you have to determine the particular solution and complementary solution. So for particular solution, either you can use this, as already know, A is equal to alpha into this characteristic equation which is to be evaluated, and beta. So instead of h of p, what I have to determinant I have calculated, p will be replaced by beta. Okay, so that's why this term 0, this term 0, this term 0, and we obtained that determinant of b at delta 1 1. Or what you can do, in order to calculate I1 of t, or suppose A1, what will be done, that V2 0, you can find out that V2 0 minus R1 and R1 plus R2 beta plus 1 over C, over using the Cramer's rule and using your L beta plus R1 minus R1 beta and R1 plus R2 beta plus 1 by C, and beta is 0. So if you substitute, you will get it the same answer of what we have obtained, right? So delta 1 1 is nothing but cofactor, and which is to be evaluated at beta. And for second also, if I would like to compute, if there would have been second forcing function also, so A2 would have been got some alpha 2, same delta beta will be there, but here the cofactor will be this delta, the first row with second, right? So this will be the cofactor which I have to obtain, and I can evaluate it beta. So this way you can solve the dynamic circuits. So here we will stop. And then from the next class we will start with the solution of networks or dynamic circuits by the use of Laplace transform. So first we will see, or we will revisit on the Laplace transform, its properties, how can we compute the inverse Laplace transform, and once we are a little bit comfortable with it, we will go with the solution of the circuit using Laplace transform approach. Thank you very much.